Greetings and welcome to another episode of Q Points Podcast. I am DJ Sir Daniel.
And my name is Jay Ray, sometimes known by my government as Johnny Ray Cornegay III. Sir Daniel, this was a moment in time that you literally had to be alive to
You had
experience.
to be there. You had to be there. It is exactly, we're now in 2025. It is exactly 25 years from the year 2000. We're at the quarter mark, right? 25 years into the new millennium.
Mm-hmm.
And like Jay Ray said, you had to be there. There was just so much going on in 1999 leading up to this remarkable change. As a matter of fact, the year 2000 was such a big deal that A24 Films is releasing a disaster comedy called Y2K. And we are officially at the age where movies, J. Ray, are being made about an era that we experienced firsthand. Can you believe it?
You know what? I am grateful that I am here and we are here to experience it. So, can I believe it? Sure, because I'm here and this is great and we can have this fun conversation to talk about this moment in time. Now, I'm curious for you, Sir Daniel. So, did this turn of the century, because it was a big deal, were you excited or were you like anxious? Like what was your mood?
I was a little bit of both. More so because I was in a state of transition. Like how old was I in 99? I can't even remember. Well, clearly I had to be
I was
about
22,
20.
so you're probably like 24.
So 25 actually.
Okay.
So I'm 25. No, you're right, 24, going on 25. And so I am trying to figure things out. I think I'm about to graduate from Clark Atlanta. But I still don't, I'm trying to get into radio. I'm trying to figure things out. And there's a lot of stuff that is not happening the way that I thought it would, which is, I believe, a predicament that a lot of young people in college or at that quarter mark of their life start to experience.
Yep.
So you're like, okay, it's a sense of, ew, what is we gonna do? What am I about to do? And then on top of that, the world is on high alert,
right?
Because some people didn't plan for the numbers changes from 99 to go to double zeros, and that just threw us into a whole form of turmoil. So J. Ray, there's a whole Y2K theory, a whole Y2K disaster theory, that we all lived through. But I want you to break it down for the people that weren't there, and also just, jog their memory of the people that were there to experience it.
Yes. So it's interesting that we are about to have this conversation because I think we're so far removed from it that it seems like a weird thing that happened, but it really was real. So I'm going to start with the number that I think is important. This is according to Computer World. They did an article. This was a feature story in 2000.
Okay.
The estimated worldwide cost of fixing the Y2K bug, according to analysts, Capgemini America said $858 billion.
Wow.
Gartner Group said $600 billion. International Data Group said $300 billion. So the Y2K issue cost us in 2000's money between $300 billion and $858 billion to fix. So let's explain what Y2K was really about and why everybody was so stressed.
Yes.
Okay. So what happened was in the early days of computer coding, everything was new. It was like hip hop back in the day. You know what I'm saying? It was new. People was like, we doing computer things in the 1900s, right?
Mm-hmm.
And 1967 is 67. That's how we program. 67. Right. That's what year it is. I know that's 1967, right? But here's the gag. The gag is those people weren't thinking like, well, what happens when it gets to the year 2000? Right.
Huh.
So what was the big problem? One of the big problems was the numbering system that was built into the coding of the time was using like 2-digit month, year, month, day, year. The problem with that is, of course, when you hit 2000, everything resets to 00. That's a mess, y'all. Right. Dun, dun. I wish I had that sound effect.
Right.
So the fear was, oh crap, when things reset to 00, we're talking banking problems. We're talking everything that could possibly be a problem will be a problem because the system will revert to 0. Like the dates will revert back to zeros. So what had to happen, and this is second nature to us now, you can look at the clock on your computer and it will give you the 4-digit year. Before all of these folks did all of this work around the Y2K bug fix, that was not a thing.
Man. And so that really put us into a tizzy. There were people on television, talking heads that were concerned about airplanes falling out of the sky, and everything was going to be calamity on New Year's Eve, December 31st, 1995, at midnight. I mean, there were literally, guys. I don't know if y'all recall about the discussions about, people were clearing out water.
Yes.
From the supermarkets and canned goods, and make sure you stock up your home with canned goods just in case the banking systems go down, because then you can't go grocery shopping.
Yep.
And then you can't, and then you can't get gas. So then there might be, they wanted you to go fill up your tank, and it was just so much fear mongering that really sent people into a tizzy. And I think a lot of us, J. Ray, I'll count myself. I'm gonna use an I statement, and I'll count myself in this. A lot of us were thinking when we got to the year 2000, we were thinking, oh, it's gonna be like the Jetsons up in here.
Literally, like all of a sudden, like the cars were just gonna miraculously start levitating. I'm not sure why they would do that. That's what we thought, but. And I would say to that point, and Sir Daniel, I don't know if this is true for you, but it was definitely true for me. It was easy when midnight hit to immediately downplay all of the stuff that happened, all of the fear mongering, right? It was immediately, see, nothing happened. But nothing happened because between $300 billion and $800 billion was spent to fix the thing that would have been disastrous for us. So I think that's really important for people to understand is, we downplayed it at the time because we was young and foolish, but computer people was like, nah, son, they saved, all of them programmers saved the world.
They were in their laps clacking away on their keyboards, because the keyboards back then made a lot of noise. So that's
I
what I'm
have
saying.
one. Here's my keyboard. It's a clackety clack clack.
There you go. And the rest of y'all, I know the rest of y'all was at watch night service with your hands up in the air. Oh, Lord Jesus, praying that Lord, peace, keep the planes in the sky, most heavenly Father. And if it is time for us to go home, let us go home with you. Amen. But
it was Hassan clackety clack clacking on his keyboard somewhere over in India. Shout out to Hassan.
Shout out to Hassan and BB and everybody that kept the lights from glitching, the yellow, red, and green lights from glitching, and we were able to get home after the club. Jerry, I'm not gonna lie, me and my friend Angel, we were at a reggae club on New Year's Eve, and there was a moment where we were kind of like standing still, like, is everything okay? I don't know what we thought was gonna happen. Like there was gonna be a earthquake or something, or the ground was going to open up. But I do know what people were doing, J. Ray. a lot of people were getting it on.
As they should have been. Why not? Because you know what? Babies had to be born. At some point, the babies got to come here. 1999 to 2000s, it gave us some very important people.
Sure, a lot of these people are about to. A lot of these important people are about to turn 25 this year, and there's a short list of entertainers, some rappers that were born in the year 2000. J. Ray, Ice Spice. Y'all remember Ice Spice?
That is shady. Why are we doing it in 2025? Why are we doing that to Ice Spice?
Because she's taking a hiatus. I don't know where she's been, but she famously, in 2024, she infamously dropped an album by the name Y2K. Because
Cleopatra was like, nah, sis.
You know what? I forgot about it. That's what that was. That was
happened
really
in 2024.
That was a really bad look for Ice Spice, but a really good look for Cleopatra.
Yep.
She was born on January 1st, 2000. She's one of those kids that was born on the first day of Y2K. So, yes, Ice Spice is on that list. Flo Milli.
Shout out to Flo Milli.
Flo Milli, who I dig a lot. She's really cool. A young man by the name of Tusi.
I have no idea who that is.
Yeah, the young people know who that is. Tusi. We know who Halle Bailey is.
We do know who Halle Bailey is, whose name still confuses me. I'm like, I get what your parents were doing, but
Bailey,
it's
not Barry.
Right.
It's Bailey, Halle Bailey. And one Willow Smith was
that girl
born
right
in the
there
year 2000.
That's a gem right there. That Willow Smith is the gift that keeps on giving, because her album in 2024 went off.
It sure did. And in case for those of you who are under a rock and don't know who her mom and dad are, her mother, of course, is Jada Pinkett Smith.
Jada Pinkett Smith, indeed.
And her daddy is Mr. Millennium himself. The Millennium, remember that?
The Millennium. That was a whole album.
Yeah. It was Mr. Will Smith himself, the Fresh Prince, who the Millennium is actually another indication of everybody's obsession with the year 2000 and the new millennium.
Yep.
Everything was about the millennium.
Yes.
And when I tell you, hip hop specifically went gung ho about the new millennium and the Y2K aesthetic, because a lot of albums were based on it, and the video aesthetics and treatments were about being in the year 2000.
Yeah. Like, so what I will say was dope about that is we definitely went to the future. So everybody immediately, so you think of, for example, TLC's fan mail, where you got, your first kind of, you got some AI happening in fan mail, right? And shout out to Left Eye, of course, who really came up with that concept, but they were in the future. Of course, Missy Elliott was always in the future. It felt like, but she was really in the future. During the Y2K era, Busta Rhymes was in the future, right? So hip hop was like, listen, let's lean into this. We're going to go sci-fi. We're going to go to the future, and we're going to take our folks with us. And that's what we did, Sir Daniel. We started doing all of our futuristic Millennium stuff. And
apparently in the future, there's a lot of glitching in the music videos. There was a lot of... a lot of glitching, as Usher calls it. That's his dance now, is that he calls it the glitching. But you know what? We have to pay respect to somebody who really had a lot of input on those the visual aspect of a lot of those artists that you just mentioned, because Hype Williams was a very, very important figure in what our imagination of what the year 2000 and beyond would look like. And here we are 25 years later, and there's some, virtual meetings. You and I doing the show just like this, virtually, is part of that, was part of that aesthetic.
Yep.
But I think if we want to talk about Hype Williams and his magnum opus, we cannot talk about 1999 going into the year 2000 and not talk about Belly.
Yes, and specifically the classic opening of Belly, I think is just because honestly, I haven't watched Belly since the early 2000s. It's probably worse than I remember.
You're not off. You're not far off. It's not one of those. You're not going to Belly for like dialogue and really good dramatic acting.
No.
That's not what you're there for. No.
But that vision of the blue and walking down the hall and you got a crew and black folks look, the black men looking blue at midnight like moonlight, you know what I'm saying? That's also beautiful too, like being able to like imagine us in that way and like glowing and being beautiful in our skin.
And dimensions. Let's not forget the whole fisheye lens.
Yes.
That gave a different kind of texture to the way things looked in movies.
Yeah, man. So yeah, Belly was definitely a moment in Hype Williams. So if y'all haven't seen Belly, maybe we should do a watch party for Belly.
We might.
Y'all want us to do that? Let us know. Let us know.
Let us know. Buy us a coffee. You see the little QR code there in the corner. Buy us a coffee and let us know while you're sipping it. Should we do a watch party for Belly? It's really superior. Beautiful to look at.
Yeah,
I love it. It's got some really funny scenes, but I think what the culmination of the movie, it does happen on New Year's Eve, 1999, going into the new millennium, which let me tell you something. People were ready to party
as we should.
December 31st, 1999. And if y'all don't know, I've mentioned this before. I was working at HMV Record Store during this time. I had been working there for 3 years. And I can honestly tell you that maybe towards the second quarter of the year, a lot of people, we started to see this boost of people coming in asking for Prince's 1999 album, whether it's CD, whatever. People were, do you have 1999? And then as we got closer, like December of 99, all the people were like, I've got to have it. Gotta have it because I got to drop this in New Year's Eve, 1999.
Yeah, man.
So it was like, Prince was like, well, we know he was a genius, but was he a genius with what they call it? A
crystal ball.
Yeah.
Listen, he named he had a 3-disc set called Crystal Ball.
He sure did.
He did. And 1999, let me take a step back. There is a weird thing about putting a year in a song. So if you go back and listen to A Tribe Called Quest's Midnight Marauders album, Q-Tip does this whole bit in the middle of, I can't remember what song, but he says, Extra P, who is Large Professor, says, don't say the years, right, in the song. So he couldn't say what year it was, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of a sentiment, right? You don't want to date the song. However, Prince's 1999 was made in like 1982. So Prince was in the future. And it was so crazy because that is a jam. You'll hear 1999 played on the radio probably tomorrow. Just turn on your radio on classic R&B radio. They're probably going to drop 1999 because it is probably the most recognizable song with a year in its title ever made. I don't know another song that has a year as a title that is as well known as that song.
Maybe The Summer of '69.
Maybe. And I love that. Shout out to Bryan Adams. Love that song.
But you're right. It does not hold as much weight as 1999 by Prince. And another reason why I think it holds so much weight or mythology with a lot of us is that for as long as I can remember, J-Ray, I don't know if you grew up with this. If you grew up with any kind of religion,
Some Jesus. You had
Some
some
Jesus.
Jesus.
If you had some Jesus in your life, if you grew up with any kind of religion, they were pounding the message of revelations into our brains at a very early start because the world has been coming to an end since it started.
Like every 20 years,
Every
some
20
minister is making millions off of the end of the year prophecy.
Exactly. And Prince famously says in the lyrics, they say
Mhm.
2000 party
Party
over,
over.
oops, out of
Out of time.
time.
Honestly, he was right because if these people did if Hassan and them didn't program it, okay, we would have been out of time.
That's it. And so yeah, I think people really thought that's part of the vision.
Mhm.
That's why people I'm pretty certain Watch Night Services was packed December
Ooh.
31st, 1999. You had to get reservations to get up in church at that time.
Can you see the velvet rope at church?
Yes. Oh, absolutely. There's somebody with a clipboard. Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Okay, I've got two. This is not your regular usher. I've got two up front, but we will need a credit card to hold those two seats for you. Can you do that? Okay,
Right.
just go ahead and.
But it was the credit card with the whoosh, whoosh.
Yeah, because there was no swiping back then,
Right.
so it's like. And here's your carbon. We'll keep
Here's your
this
carbon
copy.
copy.
Here's your carbon copy. And yes, now if you're not here. But if you're not here, but by 11:30, your seats can be given away. So just letting you know,
No refunds.
No refund. This is going to be, I know that there's a church that I live down the street from, not too far from, that's very popular here in the Metro Atlanta area, for having those kinds of, celebrity-esque rules and foolishness that goes along with going up into that church. But of course, that was long, long, long ago. Those things don't exist anymore. But yes, yes, kids, that's exactly why 1999 had such an effect on us, I think. And, we had a lot of music-wise, like J. Ray was saying earlier, the music videos were having this more futuristic look. And we got to give it up to the television shows that were being born in that new year, because all these new music videos and different visuals videos were a must around this time. So there were some new platforms that came about specifically in the year 2000.
Yeah. So, and as we talk about these shows, I think it's really important. The late 80s ushered in, the late 90s ushered in the new era of the pop star. So this is when your boy bands are emerging. You have your Backstreet Boyses, your Samantha. Shout out to Samantha Moomba. You got a Samantha Moomba.
Wow.
You got it right. You have Britney Spears, et cetera, et cetera. So you see these shows emerging, but specifically in 2000, we have 106 in Park, which is BET. Basically, BET was like, we need a TRL over here. 106 in Park.
Tell them what TRL stood for.
Total Request Live. And I don't know why they called the show that, because it was a countdown show wasn't it a countdown show?
It was a countdown show, but they also had like a futuristic aspect to it where you can hop online and you can go to the MTV website and you can make your requests on live, and you just see them pop up from time to time, like such and such in Nebraska wants to see, O Town, whatever song they were popular for back then.
Yeah.
And so there was that aspect of the virtual computerized way of asking for songs instead of calling up to a radio station or to a video show for your requests. Now the computer and the internet is involved.
See, I didn't watch. So I had grown, I was older. I was an adult. You know what I'm saying? So I didn't watch TRL unless it was somebody going to be on TRL that I really wanted to see. But we, of course, on BET got 106 in Park. So shout out to AJ and Free. Legends.
AJ and Free, yes.
AJ and Free were legends, and everybody came through 106 in Park. It was kind of a moment in time. And then Lou Pearlman, actually, this first season of Making the Band came in 2000, and the first season of Making the Band was focused on Lou Pearlman, who was responsible for NSYNC and the Backstreet Boys. And he went down in flame. He, rest in peace, Lou Pearlman, but he did a lot of real icky stuff throughout the years. But he was making a band, and I think he made O Town.
Yeah, that was his band. Yeah,
That was his band. So yeah, that was the premiere of Making the Band, which eventually got taken over by Diddy.
taken over by MTV.
By MTV, and then Diddy became kind of the face of it. But it was Lou Pearlman, but that premiered in 2000.
How ironic, Lou Pearlman and Diddy. Wow.
Yikes.
But yeah. So those were that literally, those shows really changed the industry.
They did.
They literally changed the industry, and we definitely have to talk about reality shows based on making people pop stars.
We do have to get to that topic, yes.
Because some of them were successful and some of them were not so successful. So we definitely got that coming into the year 2000. And shout out to BET. 106 in Park was on for 14 years, J. Ray.
That's
nothing to shake a stick at. That's a long time.
Yeah, and 106 in Park survived the abrupt departure of their main hosts.
Yeah,
they literally survived that. Like, that was a big deal, because for most other shows, that would kill the thing, because AJ and Free were so closely attached to the format. But 106 in Park survived it, and they were able to continue on. We got Roxy and Terrence J, and so yeah,
we got Bow Wow, J. Ray.
Bow Wow.
To his credit, when he calls himself Mr. 106 in Park, he's not being what's the word? He's not being
hyperbolic.
Hyperbolic. That's exactly the word I was looking.
I like that
word. He's not. He's not capping young people. He's not capping. He really was Mr. 106 in Park. Like, he grew up on the show and then ended up being a host on the show. So yes, you literally watched Bow Wow grow up. And one of the things that we saw in 106 in Park and TRL, J. Ray, was a lot of fashions.
Jesus Christ.
I know that fashion is cyclical and a lot of things come back, but I'm not looking forward to those 2000s fashions that were.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
There were some choices that were made back then.
We might have the same one that's awful. Those big ass white tees that like went down to your knees.
Yes. The too tall tees.
The too tall tees. And then I'm gonna give a runner up. When Nelly and them Saint Lunatics showed up with like the tape under their eyes, combined with those super huge jerseys, I was over my life. No, that's not cute.
I'm so glad you mentioned Nelly, because something just came to me that a lot of you, and I'm going to include myself in this, was guilty of this. Boys and girls, I don't know if you can imagine it, but I had a lot of hair back in the early 2000s. So much so that I had straight backs.
Yes.
And at the end of those straight backs were beads.
Yes.
So every time I turned my head, you can hear clacking.
Clackety clack clack.
So that's one offense. That's one egregious offense that I committed back in the 2000s. But then, J. Ray, on top of that, I was rocking multicolored do-rags.
Of course. How could you not?
How could you not? Because the do-rag was a part of your ensemble.
Right.
Your do-rag had to match your oversized throwback jersey and whatever long. They weren't even shorts. They were long. They were like short pants. They went down to your ankle. And not only was the do-rag, the do-rag wasn't always tied up like it was meant to be. The do-rag was flared out underneath a big ass cap to make it look like you had, if you didn't have braids or straight backs or locks, the do-rag was like your boy hair, because I saw a lot of people flipping back their do-rag like it was hair. Y'all did it. I was there. I saw it. I saw y'all do it. Don't try to act like you didn't do it. But yes, that to me, that's one of the more egregious fashion choices that we made back in the 2000s, along with a lot of business casual wear in the club. And yes,
I had thoughts. So I literally was just I went down a rabbit hole about this thing, because I remember, I was going to the club then. You know what I'm saying? And one of the things that I had forgotten about are the dress codes that they had. The clubs didn't want the hippity hoppers coming into their club. So you had to look like you had some good sense in order to go to the club. And it was like, oh, that's why we was wearing business casual, because the clubs, we have to remember, y'all, hip hop wasn't the culture yet. Now hip hop is everything, right? So everybody is trying to look like a rapper. Back then, you were trying to look like you were a nice, safe business person or a student who wouldn't wreck your club.
Picture it. The page boy hat cocked to the side, the oversized frames.
Yes.
J-Ray.
The vest.
The vest.
The vest.
The vest over the button-down shirt.
Over the button-down shirt.
With the collar open.
With the collar open.
But the vest was buttoned up, and your shirt underneath was flared out. Oh my God. It was so terrible looking. So
we was
awful.
going to the club. We was going.
We were going to the club.
In them chunky shoes, because they weren't sneakers. And you couldn't do Timbs at a lot of places. So you had to find a shoe that was sneaker-like.
Yes. Like those Skechers or those, Steve Maddens.
Yes. Steve Madden.
Steve Madden's, my God. I do not look back. The way I look back fondly on 80s fashions, I do not look back fondly on year 2000 fashions. No. I don't know how women were walking around, because all the jeans back then, apparently everything had to fit below your hip.
Yes.
So everybody had like jeans that went right above their crack. And if you didn't have a flat stomach, you were just, here's what the girls did. If you didn't have a flat stomach, what they would do is they would have like this a tight camisole.
Oh yeah, that came down.
Came down to their jeans to go over their not so flat stomach, and then they would put on another tight shirt over the camisole. It was a mess. It was a mess, you guys. Yeah, thank God for deliverance and an evolution in fashion, and that you don't have to live through that anymore, but you can experience it listening to Q Points.
You can experience it listening to Q Points, and no shade, given what's going on in 2025, we might be going back to that.
Yikes.
So y'all might be going back to business casual in the clubs. Just saying. But listen, y'all, thank you for tuning in as we refreshed your memory for those who were there and informed you about what it was for those who weren't about Y2K. If you like Q Points and you are seeing us and you are listening to us, thank you so much. We appreciate you. We love you. Hit the subscribe button wherever you are. And if you could do us a solid and share the show with your friends. You can check out more Q Points by visiting our website at qpoints.com. You can watch all of our old shows over there. You can also sign up for our newsletter, which leads you to our blog where we have a whole bunch of other content. You can shop our store at store.qpoints.com where you can get a lot of fresh gear and, just support your boys. We love y'all. We appreciate y'all.
We absolutely do. And as we always say at the end of the show, in this life, you have a choice. You can either pick up the needle or you can let the record play. Because there are no numbers on the ends of records, so they won't go out of style. But I'm DJ Sir Daniel.
I'm J Ray, y'all.
And this is Q Points Podcast, dropping the needle on Black music history. We will see you on the next go round. Peace.
Peace, y'all.